Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of WWE Evolution 2025, capping off a very busy weekend of wrestling action. Another 3+ hours of wrestling on top of everything from Saturday. I do want to give my quick thoughts on NXT Great American Bash. I did watch that show earlier in the day. It was fine. It was a good show. I didn't really miss much. And if you did not catch Great American Bash, there's really not a whole lot that you missed. It felt like a glorified NXT episode. You had Javon Evans beating Jasper Troy, who was the winner of Legends and Future Greats. He seemed all right. Felt a bit generic to me. Javon Evans is great, though. Love his stuff. Javon Evans picked up the win. And then we had a tag team match. Ruca, actually a singles match, Ruca versus Izzy Dame, which I thought was a good match. It was for the Women's North American Championship. I like Ruca. I think she has a lot of potential. Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints in a Falls Count Anywhere match. As Matthew pointed out, probably the best match of the show. They were brawling all over the place, and at one point, Ricky got attacked by Jasper Troy. They'll probably have a match at some point. They fought back to the ring, and they were over by the stage, and Paige gave Saints the ego's edge, sending Saints off the stage through a couple of tables below, and that was the end of the match. I thought that was a cool finish. And then we had Obafemi defending his title against, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Well, I guess I have to. Inamura, not sure how to pronounce it. I haven't really been following NXT, so I didn't know much about him, but it was a solid match. Obafemi won, no surprise there. And then the main event was Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe. Inamura is how I pronounce it. So thank you for that, Jerry. Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe against JC Jane and Fallon Henley. Good main event here. The women got the top spot, and it did play into Evolution. Grace and Monroe got the win, and at the start of Evolution, I should say the kickoff show, Grace wanted Monroe to be in her corner, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments. I thought Inamura did good, but I don't like his hair. His hair bothered me. Now, we'll talk about the NXT women's match in just a few moments. Let's get to Evolution. Stephanie McMahon was at the beginning of the show, and she was talking about some of the matches. Not sure why we needed this, but it opened up the show. Stephanie had to be on, of course. We had Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I thought it was a really good match to start off the show, and this was a hot crowd. This was a good sign for the rest of the premium live event. The fans gave them a standing ovation right when the match began. They were hot. They were ready for Evolution. Ian sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Ian. Says, hot take, PLE of the year. That is indeed quite the take, because there have been some excellent PLEs this year. Now, does this include pay-per-views, or is this just WWE PLEs? Let me know, Ian, in chat room. Tell me what you think. This was a really good triple threat match. Very evenly matched amongst all three of them. and they were all hitting their signature moves. The pins were broken up by the third woman, and then Bayley took out Lyra with the rose plant. Becky, though, came in with a backslide, really smooth transition into that. Got the 1-2-3 victory. I love the finish for the match. Becky retained clean, no shenanigans, just a straight up triple threat. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a strong match to open up the show. Ian says it includes pay-per-views too. So that's a very hot take. Thank you for that. I still think I would go with the triple threat from WrestleMania, but as far as opening matches go, this was a very strong match. It set the bar high for the rest of the evening. Definitely a thumbs up for this one. Now we had JC Jane versus Jordynne Grace. Blake Monroe was out there with Jordan. I initially picked Jordan to win this match. However, once Jordan said she wanted Monroe in her corner, I was definitely getting suspicious. And then, of course, NXT, they won the tag team match main event. All is well with these two. They're besties. Everything's great. Definitely felt like something was going to happen here. I changed my pick at the last minute. I literally went to the Predictions League organizer, Noah Foster, and I had my prediction changed shortly before the show, and I don't feel bad about it. Good match here with these two, and you had the Fatal Attraction members, Henley and Jasmine Nix, on the outside of the ring. They interfered during the match. They took some cheap shots when they had the opportunity. Grace was able to fight back, and it went back and forth with these two. Henley tried to interfere again, but Monroe headbutted her, and then Nix grabbed the NXT Women's Championship. She was going to use it. However, Monroe took the title away after clotheslining her. And then you had Jordynne Grace attempting to send Jane into the ropes, but Jane reversed it, and Grace went over, and Monroe hit Grace with the championship. But the question was, did she do it accidentally or was it on purpose? Jane took advantage of this, got the 1-2-3 victory. And then after the match, we seemingly got our answer because Monroe, she wasn't all bubbly and happy. She got in the ring. She handed over the title to JC Jane and then took her leave. Definitely came off like a heel turn for Blake Monroe, which I figured was inevitable. Her character is definitely heelish. Doesn't feel like a babyface character. A good match. I like the angle. It did feel a little bit predictable. I definitely sensed something was up, but the execution of it was well done. And I guess we'll have to see what's next for Blake Monroe on NXT. We had our 4-way tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And by the way, it's Masha Slamovich versus JC Jane title for title at Bound for Glory, or not Bound for Glory, Slammiversary. Yeah, Slammiversary coming up next weekend in New York. We had our WWE Women's Tag Team title match. Raquel and Roxanne defending against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors, and Ruca and Zaria. Ruca wrestling 3 straight nights in a row. She wrestled on SmackDown, on the NXT show, and on this show, Evolution. Great showing by her. As I've said, like, of all the NXT stars, she's definitely at the top of the list of people that I think have potential to be top-tier stars. And Charlotte got one of the best reactions of her career on this show. The fans were chanting, "We want Charlotte," and she came in there and got a really hot tag. She was cleaning house, and this is like the most over she's ever been, I think, in years on a WWE show. The crowd was loving Charlotte. This Alexa storyline seems to be working as far as getting people behind Charlotte. There you go. They may have struck gold with this storyline. So yeah, it was a very good match here with the teams. A little bit on the shorter side, but entertaining for the duration of it. And the main turning point in this match. So Zaria was going for a spear on Alexa, and Sol was holding Alexa, but then Charlotte pulled Alexa out of the way, and Sol accidentally got hit with the spear. And then Raquel power bombed Alexa over the top rope onto the Kabuki Warriors and Zaria. Roxanne took care of Charlotte, and then Raquel pins Sol with the Tejana bomb to retain the titles. Great finish there. That was all well done. Love the power bomb over the top. Really good stuff here. Ian sent in a $2 super chat. Shout out to Ian. Says, I nominate Sol Ruca's Soul Snatcher for finisher of the year. Yeah, I think it's definitely in the running, and it wouldn't shock me if it wins at this point. I mean, she's definitely getting great reactions from it. The Devil's Kiss, I don't know if we are calling that a finisher or not. More on that later. But that move might be up for contention as well. We'll see if fans nominate it. But yeah, the Soul Snatcher is very unique. I will say that. Maybe a little unrealistic, but it's a memorable move. I will give her that. And Greg says that Roxanne and Raquel have better chemistry. I mean, they definitely have some, and there's potential here. And when Liv returns, I don't expect her and Raquel to be on the same page. I think when Raquel returns, she'll be a babyface. As far as Charlotte getting the babyface reactions, I wonder if that article she posted may have helped her out a bit, the Players Tribune article. I mean, she really opened up and spoke from the heart, and perhaps that won her over with some people. And of course, as Michael Wayne points out, Atlanta, definitely Ric Flair, WCW country, and that may have played a role in it as well. But I do like to think that people are enjoying the storyline with Charlotte and Alexa. Next up, we had Tiffany Stratton defending the WWE Women's title against Trish Stratus, the legend, multi-time NoDQ.com Female of the Year award winner. She won it like 6 years in a row, basically every year that she was active as a full-time wrestler in WWE. That's how popular she was during the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras. I mean, she was the top star of the women's division for many years. This was another really good match. I mean, it was fairly short, like a couple of the other ones, but they made the most out of the time they had. And it was very competitive. They started off a bit friendly, but then, of course, the intensity picked up as the match went on. Trish did some cool stuff in the match. She did the stratosphere from the apron, sending Tiffany to the floor. She did a tornado DDT. The stuff that Trish and Tiffany did looked good. And then Tiffany got in some offense. She did a swanton bomb, and then she went for the moonsault, but Trish got her knees up. Trish did the Stratusfaction, the bulldog. Tiffany kicked out of that, though. And then Trish made the mistake that a lot of people do. When you try to do your opponent's finisher towards the end of the match, usually it doesn't come off too well. She went for Tiffany's moonsault, but Tiffany got her knees up, and then Tiffany finally successfully executed the prettiest moonsault ever and got the 1-2-3 victory. great stuff here. And yes, Lita did do the moonsault as well. So you could say that maybe Trish was going for a Lita moonsault and not the prettiest moonsault ever. After the match was over, Trish got her moment. They gave her a standing ovation, which was very cool. And of course, people are wondering, is this the last one? You never know when the last one might be. And if it was a great way to go out. But I could see her doing more. I mean, it just depends. I think Trish has actually had a really good run at just being a part-timer, coming in every now and then for a big match. You never know when she might pop up again. I don't think it's her last match. I could see her coming back at some point. There's always opportunities for her to come back and come in for a big match at a WrestleMania or an Evolution or whatever. All right, moving on here, we had Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no-holds-barred match with Bianca Belair as the special guest referee. And of course, Bianca has the history with them, that whole storyline. It fit in, but when they announced Bianca in the match, I was thinking we were getting shenanigans in this one. So Naomi immediately tried to hit Jade with the Money in the Bank briefcase, but missed. We had tables involved. We had kendo sticks. A steel chain was brought into the match. It wasn't nearly as violent as the Jon Moxley Adam Page match, and it never was going to be on a WWE show. But by the standards of the women's matches, I mean, they did quite a few things. We got some weapons being used. Jade used a camera as a weapon, and then they fought on the outside, and Naomi drop-kicked Jade into the announce desk, and there was a monitor down there, and it basically short-circuited. The crowd was chanting, "Holy shit," for that one, and Jade barely got back into the ring. And then Jade was on the apron. Naomi knocked her off. Jade went through the table that she set up. Always happens. Then Jade got back into the ring somehow, or she was thrown back into the ring, actually. And Naomi continued the offense. She set up another table, and she climbed up to the top. She was going to put Jade through the table, but Jade got back up. She caught Naomi on the top and then gave her an avalanche Jaded through the table. Great spot here. It looked really good. And she got the 1-2-3 victory to perhaps end the feud? Question mark. More on that later. Jade Cargill wins, and no weird stuff from Bianca Belair. No controversial moments. Bianca was just there to count the fall, and that's what she did. That was the swerve. The swerve was that there was no swerve with Bianca. She just called it down the middle, and Jade Cargill picked up the win. Really good match here. I mean, I think it was Jade's best singles match since coming to WWE. Maybe the best match of her career. Definitely up there. I mean, she did have a couple of good tag matches with Bianca Belair, but I think as far as her singles matches in WWE go, this was top tier. And I can't even remember an AEW match that I thought was really great from her. So this might have been her best career match to date. And of course, they had the weapons and the gimmicks and all that, but I thought it was very entertaining. Next up, we had the Women's Battle Royal. Winner gets the title shot at Clash in Paris, which is at the end of August. We had, I think, 20 competitors, no surprises. They did announce all the names in advance, and there were no surprise entries in this one. Stephanie Vaquer, Ivy Nile, Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Natalya, Maxine Dupree, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Latch, can't even say her name, Lash Legend, Izzy Dame, Tatum Paxley, Zelina Vega, Julia, Candice LeRae, B-Fab, Michin, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire. Nikki, Chelsea, Nia, Julia, and Stephanie got the full entrances, and everybody else got like half an entrance. That always is interesting to me because it tells you who is on the radar as far as being a top tier star. You know, WWE gives the full entrances to the people that they consider to be their top stars, and Chelsea was included in that, although she had the secret Hervis with her, so that was 3 people. Nia was pretty dominant in this match. She immediately eliminated Paxley and Dame. And then Kalani did the Kofi Kingston spot where she was thrown out, but her feet didn't hit the floor, and she did a handstand to get herself back in. One of the interesting eliminations, we had Zelina getting eliminated by, or excuse me, Julia getting eliminated by Zelina Vega. I guess that feud is going to continue. I thought that Julia would just move on and Zelina would do something else, but Zelina had a good showing in this one. Secret Hervis worked together, but then Nikki Bella was able to eliminate Alba Fire. Nikki and Stephanie worked together. They got out Piper and Chelsea Green. Lash Legend eliminated Nikki. She got a big push in this match. It was down to Lash, Stephanie, and Nia. And Stephanie and Lash actually were able to work together and get Nia out of the match. So it was down to Stephanie and Lash Legend. Now, remember, Lash's partner got released a month or 2 ago. So people were worried about Lash, but it looks like WWE still has plans for Lash. She had a good showing in this match, but ultimately Stephanie got the win with the Devil's Kiss on the apron. So again, is the Devil's Kiss the finisher now? Because that's what won her the match. The Devil's Kiss. And yeah, Lash Legend fell to the floor. After the match was over, Stephanie McMahon came into the ring to interview Stephanie McMahon came in to interview Stephanie Valkyria. And she asked her a question in Spanish, which a lot of people made fun of Stephanie for that. Now, Valkyria spoke in both English and Spanish, basically saying she made history. She thanked everyone who paved the way. And she said that people will remember her name forever. She said that English might not be her first language, but wrestling is her first language. And I enjoyed this. It was a fun battle royal. Right person won. Stephanie goes on to Paris, and I'm looking forward to that. But who will she be facing? Time will tell. We had our main event of the evening, which was Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the women's world title. Now, before I get to that, we did have some people at ringside. Some of the legends were there. Vicky Guerrero, she even said, "Excuse me," on the mic. We had Melina, who was out there. Jacqueline, who was on the pre-show, and she was entertaining. Alundra Blaze was there. We had a couple others. So that was cool to see some of them. Kelly turned it down. More on that at NoDQ.com if you want to know the story on that. Anyways, Rhea versus Io Sky. They had a feeling out process in the beginning. And then Rhea said she respected Io, but she wanted to fight. So they turned up the intensity. And it was a very competitive match. Back and forth with these two. And I was really enjoying it. This was a great match between these two. They were kicking out of each other's moves, and Io did a poison Rana to Rhea. Rhea then nailed her with a crazy-looking Razor's Edge. Like, that one put Scott Hall's Razor's Edge to shame, and even Damian Priest's Razor's Edge. That was one of the better-looking Razor's Edges that I've seen. And then Io went up for the missile drop kick, and this was maybe the only criticism I had of this match, well, maybe more than one. I don't know about the second one, but this looked way too choreographed. Like, you got Rhea there with the referee, halfway across the ring, and Io's on the other side. Like, it was so obvious the referee was going to get hit with the drop kick. So, yeah, that's a minor criticism I have of this. It just looked so overly choreographed. Like, even Stevie Wonder saw this one coming. So, yeah, Io hits the referee. And the reason they did this was so they could brawl into the crowd. They went in the crowd and fought for a while. The referee is down. By the way, Rhea hit the riptide while the ref was down in the ring, and nobody was there to make the count. Don't they have like a second referee on standby? Not this time, though. They brawled in the crowd. No referee to come out there and count them out. And then Io climbed up this production crate, jumped off, and did a crossbody to Rhea, which got a big pop from the fans. And then they fought back to ringside. Io managed to powerbomb Rhea on the floor, got her back in the ring, and then the referee just happened to recover at this point. Io did her over the moonsault, went for the cover. Referee was in position, but Rhea Ripley kicked out of Io's moonsault. The crowd was absolutely shocked by this. The crowd was on fire for this. And then Rhea was able to give Io this Spanish fly as Io had climbed up again. Rhea caught her, did the Spanish fly. Both women were down. And then I mentioned to my wife, I'm like, well, maybe Naomi comes out now. And pretty much right on cue, Naomi comes out there with the Money in the Bank contract, and she officially cashed it in. She got in the ring. She hit Io with the briefcase, threw Rhea Ripley out of the ring, did the split-legged moonsault, and pinned Io Sky to become the new WWE Women's World Champion. Basically, the women's equivalent of WrestleMania 31. It was very similar. A main event match, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Long match between those two. And then Seth Rollins comes out there, heist of the century. It turns into a triple threat. And then Rollins scored the pinfall victory. Very similar circumstances here. The women's 100% cash in continues. Naomi wins. Lots of questions now. What's going to happen next? Naomi, I presume, is part of Monday Night Raw. And one would think this is the end of the Jade Cargill feud. See, I thought Naomi was going to cash in and screw Jade Cargill, but perhaps they thought that was too predictable. Jade beat her on this show, and you could say that that was the blow off to the feud. Another similarity to WrestleMania 31. Seth Rollins lost to Randy Orton and then went on to cash in the main event of the show. Very similar circumstances to that cash in. And it was a great moment. The reason I felt like maybe criticizing this was just because I felt like Io and Rhea were having such a great match that I was a little bummed that it ended up with the shenanigans. Like, I almost wanted just a nice clean finish with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. But the cash-in was great. Big moment for Naomi. Shakes things up. You know, we talked about the injuries and Liv Morgan getting hurt. You know, this is a way to shake things up a little bit. And it was very well done. And I love the post-match. Rhea Ripley helped up Naomi, or not Naomi. Rhea Ripley, definitely not Naomi. Rhea Ripley helped up Io Sky, and the two of them hugged each other, had their moment together. It was a great match. Hot take, I think it was a better match than Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm. I think it was probably the best women's match of the year. A very memorable moment with the cash-in. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, how much longer can they keep the belt off of Rhea Ripley? That's a good question. Unless Rhea goes to SmackDown, maybe she gets it from Naomi, maybe not. What about Stephanie Valkyria? She's got that Clash in Paris title opportunity. Is it going to be Naomi versus Stephanie Valkyria? Will Stephanie win? Lots of possibilities here as to where this can go. I mean, if Rhea switches brands, they can always put Rhea in with somebody else to establish Rhea on SmackDown before she gets back in the title picture. I could see Rhea not being in it until the beginning of the year. And then, of course, you got Liv Morgan eventually coming back for WrestleMania, most likely. So, yeah, we'll see what they do. But this definitely freshens things up in the Raw women's division for sure. And MJ, the Dark Horse, sent in a $2 super chat, says it was a good way to protect Io and Rhea. It was, but at the same time, the main event of Evolution, I think I would have liked a clean finish, but I'm totally fine with what they did. It was definitely unexpected because I think we were all thinking Naomi cashing in on Jade and Tiffany at SummerSlam. Like we all thought that, but they swerved us and went in a different direction. So I did like that, the fact that it was unexpected, and they did something different. No surprises as far as no Paige, no AJ Lee. I mean, I realistically did not expect AJ Lee on this show. I thought Paige was maybe a solid possibility, but nothing from them. Overall, Evolution was great. It was pretty much the perfect length. I might have liked it a little bit shorter. It was over 3 hours. It was about 3 hours, 20 minutes or so. But it was a great show. There were no bad matches. I mean, there was no weak match on the entire show. Every match was at least good, and you had several really good matches, and the main event was great. You had the awesome ending to the show. So yeah, really good show. I give it 8 out of 10. Really good show. Maybe a few surprises. Maybe if it was a little bit shorter. I mean, I don't think you really needed 7 matches. You could have done 6, but you know what? They gave the women their spot, and the women definitely showed up. Maybe a little less Stephanie McMahon on the show. We really didn't need Stephanie. And not too much filler. Like I felt like they advanced storylines, and yeah, very enjoyable show overall. Definitely recommend checking it out. The women definitely stepped it up and put on an excellent show. It was on par with All In for me. Like I'm kind of torn. People are saying, why not a 9 or a 10? I gave All In an 8. And I feel like they were pretty equal to me for some somewhat different reasons. All In obviously had a match that was very violent, and quite the spectacle, and different stuff on the women's pay-per-view. But yeah, I really enjoyed All In, and I really enjoyed Evolution. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Says, who will be the champions at Crown Jewel? Crown Jewel is in Australia, so that's in October. That's a great question. I mean, I don't know if Stephanie will win the title in her first match for it, but wouldn't shock me if she beats Naomi for the title. And as far as who beats Tiffany, I mean, I could see Jade winning it. I feel like Jade will have the title at some point. Tiffany's had a long reign, and I could see that ending relatively soon. Although they've booked her well. She's been winning matches. She beat She beat Trish Stratus. But at this time, I mean, I think it's a little bit early to say, but if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say Stephanie Valkyria and Jade Cargill will be the next champions. I don't know if they'll be champions by Crown Jewel in October, but I feel like they will be the ones that eventually hold the title sooner than later, most likely. Thank you guys for watching the live stream tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and spread the word about the No DQ YouTube channel. You can check out detailed results over at NoDQ.com. And oh yeah, Matthew brought up Bianca Belair. Like, are we getting the heel turn from her? Where does she fit in on SmackDown at this point? I think Naomi moving was the right call. We'll see what happens on Raw. We got a big Raw coming up. We're going to find out Gunther's opponent for SummerSlam, and maybe we'll have some more information about Seth Rollins. So check out my live stream Monday night after Raw. We'll be talking about that. Have a great week, everyone. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.